Episode 79, Motown Mafia Podcast, which of course is a Big Boss Filmworks production. It is your man, CRB Jr., here with the man, Louis F. Stevens.
All day.
This is the brain thrust of Big Boss Filmworks. We want to thank you all for your continued support, and the channel continues to grow. Looks like guys are really enjoying the shorts we've been putting out.
That's right.
We got a bunch of stuff still going on in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Many of you are still watching and not subscribing. So Lord knows we appreciate you watching, but it'd be a great help with the algorithms and for us to continue to be able to bring you some quality conversations and in the future bring you some more quality interviews. Please just hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And that's whatever platform you're on, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on TikTok, Patreon, Facebook. Go over to the Patreon channel. It is some good stuff over there, and it's going to be some really independent film stuff that we're doing.
Yes.
That it's going to be available there, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in the show. How you doing, though, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Doing
Everything good.
Happy belated Father's Day to you.
Thank you, and that to you again.
All day.
Your seed is graduated and about to go out into the big bad capitalist world.
She's already there. She is already there.
Better ask somebody.
Better ask her. Me and the seed. She treated her father to a movie yesterday.
What'd you guys see?
Went to go see Life of Chuck.
Okay, I heard about it.
That was a real cerebral movie. I mean, it's not for everybody, but if you are a thinker, it's definitely a movie to go check out. Bought me this T-shirt from Spectacles. What's up, Zara? Down at
Zara. You know what? You know Zara was one of the first people to carry the book.
I remember. I was there. Yes.
Book, by the way, shameless plug, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. Wrote by yours truly, produced by yours truly.
All day.
Edited by Auntie
Anita Flanagan.
Yes.
Wordsmith.
Started at God rest her soul, at Annie Stevens' home.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Man. But yeah, so shout out definitely to Zara and Spectacles.
Yes, big time. Big ups to Stevie Wonder.
Did you see the Fixins restaurant around the block now from Zara's?
No.
So Kevin Johnson, the ex-NBA ball player.
Okay.
Then became mayor of Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Started a soul food restaurant concept called Fixins.
Oh, I gotta hit that.
So we went to it. In fact, he was in town when it first came. And shout out to those guys, Dennis Archer Jr. and Hiram, and those guys are doing some really positive things in that old Harmony Park area.
Okay.
And Zara's, she's been a staple down there
for years.
I mean, in fact,
at least 30 years now.
She's been a staple. So that's hot. That's a Detroit feel-good story right there.
All day.
So that's a hot shirt. That's where that comes
from. Yeah, that's where it came from. Spectacle.
So if you downtown, you're in the Harmony Park, or now they call it the Paradise Valley.
Back to Paradise Valley.
Back to the future.
Yes.
Get a brother, Kevin Johnson, a shout at Fixin's Restaurant, and definitely give Sister Zara a shout. She's always got some very unique,
eclectic pieces.
Eclectic pieces. That's the word for the people who went to school.
Books, you name it. Yeah, she's hitting them.
On that, I am wearing a Getting Off Zero exclusive T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrating the success of the Pan-African young man who, if you guys have followed social media, is all over social media. Mr. Abraham Toure, the president of a country in West Africa, right north of Ghana, called Burkina Faso, if you guys are not following him. But he is doing some remarkable things for our people over there, taking back the gold mines and truly getting his country off zero. So if you like this, a shout out to Ray Tatum and Getting Off Zero. You can see this and raise other stuff at www.gettingoffzeroatlanta.com or ATL.com.
And if you are in Amazon, you can get this book, Getting Off Zero, Mind Right, Money Right.
Mind Right, Money Right. That's right. Another collabo work. And on Kindle, last but not least, since we're doing the book tour, Big Man on Campus, fictional story, loosely based upon some of my activities. We're not perhaps in when we were in college. It is rated R.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe NC-17.
In all that. But that's hot. That's hot.
Yeah.
To see the movie and all that.
Yes, definitely.
But this week, what we wanted to do, is pay some tribute to the man who truly, it wasn't for him, my life, my family's life would have been very different. Yours would have been very different because none of this
none of this would have happened.
would have ever come to fruition. On June 15th, 1944, Eddie Jackson was born. The big man's birthday just came up yesterday. This week, he would have been 81 years old.
Happy heavenly birthday to the big man.
To the heavenly birthday to the big man. And, fam, now that we're at a point in life where you really can reflect and look back on the journey, and I think I said this in an earlier post once speaking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a quote from Carlos Gambino describing Charles Lucky Luciano. And Carlos Gambino said at his funeral that he had met many men and many unique men. Mm-hmm. But that when you were in a room with Lucky Luciano, you knew you were in the presence of greatness. And I echo that in this journey, I have met all kind of people, from Silicon Valley billionaires to all kind of Grammy award-winning artists to people at the highest levels from the streets to the highest levels of corporate America. But the only person I've ever seen really command a room, when Eddie Jackson walked in a room, you knew somebody really different was in the room.
Yeah.
The phrase that they use now is he sucked the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah.
When Eddie would walk in the room, he would suck the oxygen out. It's like everybody knew that the man really is here. And things and all the street legends of the man throwing money out of the window of his crowd pleaser Rolls Royce was crowd pleaser Cadillacs. That's all true, but all that is just speaking to the generous nature of the man. And from the time he pulled Pops into his orbit, his lifelong friend, my father, he was determined that his buddy would live as good as he lived.
Absolutely.
When you get, you get to be people ain't cut like that, man.
That's right.
We live, and now in the selfish times we live, but I think it's always that people are it is seldom when somebody wins really big, but they want everybody else to truly, he was the high tide that wanted to raise all the other ships.
Yeah, definitely. Just read people from what I've learned about him.
Read people, right? Because he gave everybody kind of what their hand called for. I think he surely could have afforded to move his whole crew to the suburbs if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want to be in the suburbs. He knew that my father was a family man and that suburban life would be very fitting for him.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Not to mention that since he's the guy that keeps my money, having him right next door to me will be a pretty good idea.
Right.
But on that, Pops to this day, shout out to the Field Marshal, the professor. Thanks again. Shout out to the Bobo family reaching out to really check on Pops. We really appreciate that. The legends out of Tennessee, the Bobo family.
Yeah.
Everybody who wish Pops. So just good news. God is good. Pops is like 95% over his medical issues, and he's back to himself.
Oh,
Really,
all
really
day,
bad
all
back
day.
himself.
Mhm.
But Pops talks about all the time. He says, you know, he already started working for Eddie and bought a nice house on Outer Drive in Mark Twain,
Mhm.
which in 71, Outer Drive Mark Twain is a very nice neighborhood
Now,
right now.
it had to be like Bloomfield Hills at that
I
point.
mean, that was the who's who for
Yeah,
real.
Premier.
Was because, Teddy Pendergraft and Marvin Gaye and them were living way down at the other end, like Penningwell and Outer Drive. So
Okay.
if you were living off Outer Drive between Livernois and the Lodge in 71,
No, he was doing something.
you was doing something. So he is more than content.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie then paid off the house on Mark Twain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, Eddie, come by one day and tell him, Berman, man, your man lonely out here. And my father, you know, God bless his old Pop's still there. He like, Eddie, shit, I only live 5 minutes away from you. What you talking about? He like, man, Pop say, he's like, damn you, Berman. Man, your man out here in the suburbs, I'm lonely, man. He's saying, by the way, now again, reading people, not wanting to insult a proud man.
Right.
So he doesn't want to say, look, man, I already thought this out. There's a house right next door to me. This Jew Dennis is about to move. I'm going to buy this house.
Right on.
I'm going to buy this house for you. He didn't do it that way.
No.
He was like, man, by the way, there's a house for sale right next to me. He said, you should go talk to the man about it. Now, as we were just talking off camera, now Pops has collected the money.
Right.
Now, about this time, Pops probably collected $100,000 a day. Easy. He gonna tell Eddie, man, I know what your house costs. I can't afford no house in Southfield. And he said, he just looked down and was like, God damn you, Vermin. Just go see what the man want for the house. Can you do that? Pops say, okay, man, I'm gonna go see what the man want for the house, right? He say they knock on the door. Man open the door, peek out the door. He see this young black couple there. Ask him to show you what the name by this time, long before the newspaper, but this man, the dentist, had been living next door to Eddie, so he's already seen the beginning of the big show.
Absolutely.
He's seen the introduction to the Grand Hustle.
Absolutely.
So Pop said that the old Jewish guy looks through window, sees this young black guy. Yeah, how can I help you? Talking real kind of sharp to him. Well, how can I help you? And he says, we were told that your house is for sale. Yeah, and what about it? He say, well, my friend Mr. Jackson, he say before he could get
Son.
next out, before he get Jackson all the way out. Oh, you're a friend of Mr. Jackson. He said, the man that's slamming the door. Come on in, please. Come on in. Now, the funny part about this story is there's 3 people involved in this house transaction. There's the nice Jewish dentist that owns the house. There's Eddie, who's going to pay for it. And it's my father who's going to move in. 2 of the 3 know this deal is done.
This deal is done. Absolutely.
Only Pops don't realize this is all the... Eddie already knew that the house was for sale and that he going to buy it. The nice Hebrew dentist knows if you're Mr. Jackson's friend, whatever my asking price is, you guys, I'm living next door to this guy. Oh, if you're his friend and he sent you here,
Oh, yes.
Martha, start packing. So I've said the man let him in and saying and start showing him around. And he's like, would that be nice? Mr. Jackson's a great neighbor, but it's just we've been out here in Southfield, yada, 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 yada. And he said they agreed on the price. I think it was like $70,000, right?
Yeah.
That's $70,000, 1970 money, basically $700,000.
Right. Yeah.
$700,000 today money. So he says, is that reasonable for you? And Pop say, yeah. All right, I'll go to the car.
Go to the car and get it.
He said, hey, hold on. I don't know.
Right. Right. What he's like, 26, 27 at the time?
Nah, 71. He's 40. He's 31.
He's 31. Okay.
31.
Got it.
He's
Got
31.
it.
His wife is 26. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Anyway, so he tells Eddie, like,
Keep going. Keep going.
well, did you give him the money, Berman, for the house? He said, I got to get a cashier's check. He said, but the money I had in the car, I turned in to you. So I ain't got the money to buy. He said, Eddie just started shaking his head again, like, nigga, don't you get it? We rich.
Right. We undid it.
We already there, man. He's
We
like,
there.
you gonna pick up another 100,000 a day, right? You're like, yeah. He's like, what about a damn house, man? Okay. But for real, again. So Eddie had, which we will document in a project coming up, interior decorator by the name of Harrison Taylor. Harrison Taylor was he was assuredly the premier African American interior home designer of that era that was doing, whether it was Barry Gordy or Sidney Poitier, any of the who's who of the African American community. They hire when you bought an apartment or a condo or a house, you hired if you were that person. But really not just African American, but assuredly African American. So Eddie has had this guy, Harrison Taylor, design his home.
Okay.
Which was a showpiece. Eddie's house was chronicled in Better Home and Gardens. Actually, both our houses ended up being chronicled in Better Homes and Gardens.
To this day. It's
so
hot.
So he gonna tell Eddie that he on his way to Art Van or Gardner White or some of the local furniture places to buy some furniture. And he says, and Eddie's just looking at him like, as he say to him, he's like, Robert, to be so smart, you could be so dumb sometimes. He say, man, you can't have no Art Van, Gardner White furniture out here with us. He said, man, you got to go get Harrison Taylor to lay out your
house. Right.
He gonna tell him the same shit again. Hey, man, I know what you spend. Look, man. So Eddie, his patience is about gone right now with my father and his shenanigan. He tells him, hey, man, for the next 2 days, the money to come in, you just keep it. That'll be about 200,000. You keep the next 200,000 to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You get your house laid out. And you go buy, you and Teresa, a couple cars. Buy yourself some jewelry and some things, because I'm not going to have these niggas talking about, look how Eddie out there living like this, and look how he got his man. His man's supposed to be his number 2. He got his man living all shabby and dusty. These niggas ain't going to talk about me like that. He was insistent that his whole crew enjoyed. It's not a street legend of the 100 Cadillacs that man bought.
Yeah.
If you was cool with him and he saw you was riding kind of raggedy, what we would call a hoopty,
Yeah.
and you was his people, you didn't even have to necessarily be directly hustling with him. Eddie would tell you, man, go. And his word was obviously such at the Cadillac dealer, and he did it so frequently. You could just walk into Dave Rice Cadillac or Coffee Cadillac,
yeah,
and say, Eddie Jackson sent me up here and told me I could get a Cadillac. And they say, okay, we'll pick you out one. No money, no nothing.
Yes.
That's how often he bought Negroes Cadillacs. That the people at Coffee Cadillac got used to.
Oh, there's another one. We got another one.
Like the dinners. Who you say sent you here? Eddie Jackson. Okay. You find it. Look around the lot. Find out.
Get the one you like.
No big deal. They'll write down. The next time they see Eddie, you owe us for 4 Cadillacs.
All day.
So he gets Harrison Taylor. So I grew up in a house with Steinway baby grand pianos and Cartier and Gucci china and silverware and artwork and Bancroft crystal, a whole bunch of stuff that, to be honest, we wouldn't know the value of it for years. Harrison Taylor, in fact, I think I told you when my sister were talking, he laid us out. He could have maybe did a better job of educating his customers of really
what they had.
I'm giving you guys the best shit on the planet. And so I say all that in doing this tribute to the big man, that he showed us all how to live, man. He instilled that there wasn't that all the good life you see other people living, that we entitled to that stuff too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we wasn't put here to be second place or second fiddle, or even though one of his most poetic acronyms was sometimes you have to stoop to conquer, that sometimes you have to play your role and lay low and be a little humble till you get yourself in a position. You guys remember that. Sometime in this life, you will have to stoop to conquer. But don't be just stooping to be stupid. You stoop to conquer.
Yeah. But once you conquer.
There you go. So in all those ads, when he would tell himself, when he'd get in one of those self-grandizement modes, and he'd be like, I'm the big spaghetti. I'm the big meatball. Oh, this shit's the spaghetti, but I'm the cheese sauce and the meat sauce and the big. But what they would call that now is motivational talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Self-inspiration.
Absolute self-affirmation.
He was in all of that and didn't even, maybe he knew instinctively that if I keep telling myself this, it will end up manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And when he told those Negroes after he had really hit the lick, but one more anecdote though about, again, the generosity and wanting. How I want to be the guy who everybody looks at me when I walk in. I don't want it. I want to be way up here and I want everybody else way down there. So he done told Pops to go buy a few cars for the family.
Mm-hmm.
They ride. He more excited than my old man. What you gonna get? What you gonna get, brother? What you gonna get? And Pops said he in the passenger seat, Eddie in the driver's seat. Is Eddie driving, and they're on Jefferson.
Okay.
And he said he told that man that he had saw a nice Buick. He said Eddie slammed on the brakes in the middle of Jefferson and put his Cadillac and parked it with him and said, "Dick, have you gone mad? A Buick?" And then he goes, "Well, maybe a Pontiac." Cause look, man, he tells me, "Hey, basically, you gonna stop playing with me. You gonna stop playing with me." He's like, "Man, the crew don't ride nothing but Cadillacs.
Cadillacs, right.
And you can maybe get a Lincoln. Okay, if you just gotta be
different,
a wildcat.
Right.
If you just gotta be a
wild card.
And you want to be different, you get a Lincoln." He's like, "But what it look like with me with Rolls Royces, Cadillac, Mercedes Benzes in my driveway, then they look over at your driveway
and you got a Riviera."
So because of that, man, in his vision, his generosity, I grew up riding in Cadillacs and rode in so many Cadillacs that, and Mom's for years didn't still, long after the Grand Hustle was over, she didn't switch over from Cadillacs to Lexuses to very recently. That got ingrained in her life.
Oh, yeah.
We ride Cadillacs.
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
Ride Cadillacs. To quote Uncle Butch, Tommy Sharp, a.k.a. Black Butch.
Big up.
Everybody want a Cadillac. Nobody want a Cadillac. And I know this younger generation, with all even though the big man was riding Benzes and Jaguars and all that before people even knew what they were.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when in our community, the Cadillac was the standard. That was the standard bearer.
Shoot, my grandfather, he had, I think powder blue one got stole. Got stole about, I think it had to be like 1980, something like that. He had a tan one, which I inherited, and I drove around proudly for a few years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But when he said after he had really, really hit his lick and got tied in with the mob, so you're talking 72, 73, and niggas was telling him, said, "Man, all the money you got, man, you don't even need no more money." And Eddie told him, "Man, I'm not trying to catch, I wasn't trying to catch you niggas in the streets. I'm trying to catch
Rockefeller." Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a big teachable moment in that statement.
To know what the money is. And I say this to family with all humility and respect. First, you got to get some money to know you ain't got no money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody go through it. So he set a he allowed everybody in his orbit for us to get some kind of real parameters on what money really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you can think enough to go out to the club and turn up as having some money. Well, that ain't no money. You can think buying a nice car and having a nice house is having some money. But he wasn't thinking like Negroes. He literally was like, no, why? Rockefeller and them got generational wealth money.
Mm-hmm.
They own land all over the world.
That's right.
Well, that's who I want. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They buy sports teams and planes and shit. Why I ain't supposed to do that if I could figure out a way to get the money to do it?
All day.
And assuredly, I mean, for most of the 70s, the only black man I can think about, and surely once Berry Gordy moved to California, I'm sure he was the wealthiest black man. If not, there might have been some other people doing some things that we just don't know about or whose math, because a lot of these guys they had accountants, but they wasn't counting all the money.
Right. Right.
You know, he was assuredly up there. And under 30, I think it was when Eddie had hit his big lick, he was 28, 29 years old. Assuredly, I don't think there was a black man under 30 that had, in the state of Michigan, that had the money he had. And surely he had to be in the top 10, 20 in the country.
Yes. Easily.
When, again, in 1973, Al Kali, the best player on the Detroit Tigers and an all-star, was making an unheard of $100,000 a year. Eddie had that on one of his fingers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dave Bing, Pistons all-star point guard, later to become the mayor of Detroit. He was the highest paid player, him and Bob Lanier. $100,000 a year each. That wouldn't even pay for Eddie's pendant.
The famous EJ pendant.
Joe Namath, I think, was the highest paid football player in the league at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Unheard of, $500,000 a year. Eddie was giving that shit away to niggas in a week. Charity. For real.
Yes.
So again, it gave everybody, you know, and so much of all the people who were in his orbit, he allowed us to see the world on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
And then try to do some things for some people and to know what it is to have a generous heart, man.
That's right.
To have a generous heart. It's true as the preachers say, you can't be God-given. But if you do get blessed with some prosperity, God don't bless you just to bless you. He bless you and assume you'll be a blessing to
other people. You know? Absolutely. Yes.
And the big man definitely got that. So I just it would be we did a shout out to Pops back in February on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was only be right and appropriate. And so to Eddie Baby, to Patricia Jackson, to Veen Jackson, to Vina, his wife, who I can say damn near helped raise me, cooked me lunch after school every day for 8 years, to Annie Mae Murphy, to the entire Jackson and Murphy family. I will say for me and mine, we thank you. The journey we have been on still continues.
Salute.
And the generosity and leadership that the big man provided during that grand hustle in the 70s will never be forgotten.
Someday.
He always gets much of the success and other things that we've been able to do and the family's been able to do. A lot of those lessons got taught from him. So
yeah,
shout out to the big man.
Big up.
The big Dundada.
Oh yeah.
Big Dundada himself. And on that, though, you got a hot piece of content you're working on.
Yeah.
Devil is a liar.
Yeah, the devil is a lie.
The devil is a lie.
And
I'm telling y'all it's sizzling. Sizzling.
Oh yeah.
Sizzling.
If you enjoyed the Eddie Jackson versus John Claxton,
go in the archives. I think it's about 3 weeks to a month old.
yes,
About a 3-minute. Will really put his game down with the animation. Yeah. If you go into the library on YouTube and you go to Eddie Jackson versus John Claxton, it's only about 3 minutes, but it is sizzling. The response has been awesome, and you'll kind of see where you're going with this. The devil is a lie.
and right about now, I am going to drop an exclusive sample of The Devil Is a Lie. You'll be seeing it here first.
In a city built on hustle, one man dared to dance with the devil. He was smooth, slick, and dangerous. This ain't no bedtime story. This is blood, bricks, and backstabs. This summer, loyalty is dead, and the streets are talking. The Devil Is a Lie, a Big Boss Filmworks original. Narrated by the streets, told by the game, inspired by the truth.